All right, guys. Calibrated Power now presents our special guest of the week. We have Chris Buhidar, who kicked ass at UCC. Chris, how the hell are you?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing good, man.
Can't complain. Just trying to, I'm sure just like you guys had a longer drive than we did, but after a long weekend like we had, trying to get acclimated and back to normal, you know?
Click on the results and then scroll down.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a UCC hangover for sure. I think everybody's still dragging pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Shops across the country.
I mean, let's face it, half of the competitors are just getting home today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Go
ahead.
We have a long track. I can't imagine, like the guys from Canada and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's brutal.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, first of all, I want to say congrats because you really did go out there and put on a great show. Came in 9th overall for the competition. Tell us just overall, man, how did this weekend feel for you?
I guess we were happy with the things that we did well. I felt like we, I wouldn't say underperformed, but we had a lot of broken parts, and I think it made the results show worse than how we really performed. So we regret the broken parts, but I mean, that's part of it. Name of the game, and your stuff breaks, and you're not winning. So.
I guess for the listeners, you know, let's just dive right into it. Day one, okay, for the UCC, you guys had drag racing. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. What time was drag racing originally supposed to start?
Oh, man, I think the driver's meeting was supposed to be at 8, and I think track was supposed to go hot at 9.
Okay. And what time did the driver's meeting actually start?
You know, I think the driver's meeting was on time, but
Okay.
I can't remember what time we even got on the track. I don't know, was it like 2, 3 o'clock or something
Yeah.
like that?
It was a long morning at UCC, man, filled with rain. We had water. I know standing in our booth, standing in a lot of the spots in the expo, the track was soaked. All of a sudden, around noon, it started to kind of break free, and then I noticed them out there with the torches and starting to prep the track around that like noon, 1 o'clock mark. And then, 2 o'clock, you guys started hitting the track. Where were you in line? Because I had a hard time following. Were you guys still doing the heads-up racing?
So the way they started was basically qualifying. They were single passes, and half of the points were derived, like how it's always been from just your fastest pass. So it was for the points, and then it was also to set the ladder for the bracket. So I think we were able to make one. I think they ended up doing 2 sessions of qualifying. We made one hit. We went out. We didn't change a ton on the truck, since last year. So we were fairly confident and know what we were going to do, and we put a somewhat mild tune-up in it because the track was. We didn't know what kind of shape the track was going to be in after all that rain, and we went down the track and ran about what we thought it would run, and we were pretty content with it. So I think we were 4th. I think we ended up being the 4th qualifiers. So we were pretty happy with where we were at.
So
going into eliminations.
For our listeners, what did you end up running at the track?
I think we were 5:59.
Wow.
Which is cooking, man.
Yeah, it's last year we had a little bit more power in it, and I think we ran some 40s. And the weight that we're at, we're still pretty heavy. I think we're 5,950 pounds, so we were content with that pass. The power that pass put down, we felt like we could keep the trans together. At that power, at that weight. With the 40s, it'll go 40s pretty easily, but we can't get the trans to last more than a pass or 2 like that. So
Gotcha.
We dialed it back. We ran about what we thought we would run. We thought we were in a pretty good place going into eliminations.
And then how'd it go once you guys were heads up, once you were in the bracket? Walk us through that, man. How'd it go?
The track was definitely going away a little bit. I think I had Ellerton first round, Ford versus Ford. We're pretty good friends. He's a good dude, so it was, you never want to draw a guy that you like, So, but I think we cut a so light, and pass was going decent, and it got probably about 450 feet out there and smoked the input shaft.
Oh.
And we coasted, and we still got the wind, and rushed back to the pits, pulled the trans out, threw our spare trans in it, and got ready to go again. I think Wade, which is obviously our teammate, the Triple Max truck.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go. We're about to pull up there, and they came by and said, that y'all have each other this round.
Oh.
That was a bummer. Obviously there's nothing you can do about it. It's the way the bracket works. You never want to race your teammate, but you just hope to get later in the day before it happens, and not in the second round.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, he was running good. I think he went some 70s. He was killing the tree, and he ended up getting me in the second round. So I went out earlier in the drag racing than what I had. What we hoped to. I felt like we had a pretty good setup to go pretty deep. I don't know if we could have won it, against some of the trucks that are lighter and a little bit better setup for those kind of times than us. But I felt like we could have made a really big run at it. But we ran fast enough to get a decent amount of points, so we weren't too pumped about it.
Sure. No, you guys did pretty good. That's one of the things is we saw consistently you guys go out and put on a good show at every event. That rolls us right into Saturday. What was the changes you looked at making from drag race to go to the dyno on Saturday?
We didn't make a huge change. I got a bigger set of injectors that makes more power, so we threw those in for the dyno. And we went from the single turbo. We bolted the atmosphere turbos back on to put it back to our triple kit. We run the same manifold charger as a single or in the triple, so we just bolted the 2 outer turbos on and threw in the bigger set of injectors. We were ready to go.
That's awesome. So I love how you're like, yeah, we just threw in a set of injectors and
two more
bolted on the
turbos.
triple
Just two
kit.
more.
No big deal. Like it's like doing an oil change, right?
Well, maybe for you.
Compared to the rest of the stuff, I guess it seems like a pretty easy task, I guess.
Now, you guys came out, you laid down some big power on the dyno, over 2,200 horse, over 2,700 foot-pounds of torque. I believe it put you in 5th overall. Where were you at in the lineup? Like, were you at the beginning of the pack or the end of the day? Where'd you fall?
So I think me and Wade were one after each other. I think we were 13 and 14 or 17 and 18. The numbers are different in the order, but we were more towards the back. I think we were probably the 2/3 mark or so. We were directly behind the Dirty Hooker guys.
Oh,
Okay.
no shit.
Yeah. So we watched their turbo explosion and the whole fireball, and it was pretty. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little unnerving. It was. Everybody there's been on dynos, been around these trucks, and we know that stuff blows up. But I've never seen a turbo pop, and it was just like I guess you'd say perfect set of circumstances, but actually imperfect set of circumstances, and it made a tragic fire, and it was pretty. It was a little nerve wracking watching that.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine being lined up and already having the nerves of being at UCC and getting ready to get on the dyno, and then to see that start going sideways.
Yeah.
How did it change your game plan at all?
Not really. I mean, you're pretty much there to blow your stuff up on the dyno, or at least try. So I guess you're already acknowledging that that's going to happen. Definitely double check the fire extinguisher and double check make sure the door was off. Get out of the truck easily. It was. I guess it changed that. But,
Sure. How about fire suit? I mean, I got to imagine when you're at the shop doing dyno runs, you don't generally have a fire suit on. Did you go and get one on, or were you already prepared on that end of it?
So last year I was wearing shorts and tennis shoes and t-shirts, same thing I wear every day, the same thing that I dyno stuff at here at the shop. And I got in side by side and ran back to the trailer and got the gloves, the boots, the pants, I mean, the helmet, the whole nine.
So do you think with what happened this year with Dirty Hooker's truck, do you think that's going to set some new safety requirements going into next year for UCC?
I think it should.
Yeah.
I think we've been very lucky. I mean, you know, there's been some fireballs, but you know, usually when somebody pops a turbo, it looks worse than it is because you have a huge big flame and then it dies.
Right.
But his didn't, and you know, we were scared because we weren't seeing him get out of the truck.
Right.
And you know, that was I guess you don't realize how much smoke and how quick it all happens. So I think there's some things that should change. I mean, they did a good job of getting the fire put out, but I think just learning what we've learned and seeing what happened, you know, like a worst case scenario, I think there's some things that could be changed to make them better prepared going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, man, safety gets thrown out the window as soon as we get in the dirt because, you know, we're all just 8-year-olds at heart.
Yeah.
So sled pulling, not really your guys' thing down there in Texas. We don't go to a lot of pulls south in the South region. This is what, your second or third year sled pulling?
This was my second year sled pulling. This was the third time I ever pulled a sled, and last year was the first two. So not a whole lot more experience, you know, going into this year. I guess hearing, you know, like we're drag racers, so we can look at a track and tell you it's this or it's that, and set the truck up this way or that way, run these tires, and the general consensus listening to the guys that sled pull that, you know, they know sled pulling were basically that this is going to suck, and we don't know how it's not going to suck. So really, well, great. We wasn't too sure what to, you know, and there was only so much they could do. I mean, there was so much rain, you know, it was nobody's fault. It was you had a sled pull, you know, a bunch of dirt on top of a racetrack, a paved racetrack, and it rained, I don't know how many inches, but a lot over 3 days.
Yeah.
There's only so much to work with.
Sure. How did you leave the line? Did you go balls out as soon as you start moving? Did you roll into it and try to get some momentum? I see we came in pretty light on the number, so we didn't go very far, about 140 plus feet or so. But yeah, how did you plan for that launch, or how did you design your launch?
So I guess we can rewind it a little bit back to one event. So on the dyno, we made our first pull. It was pretty good, what we expected. Kind of got the nerves out, but cool. We'll go ahead and turn it into our big tune, and we'll hit the rest of the nitrous and try to do the big number we can. Came up on the turbos, sounded good, broke another input shaft.
Oh my God!
Oh, shit.
So fast forward back to the sled pull. So at this time, it's, you know, after that happens to you twice, you're thinking be as easy as you can on it, because odds are it's probably, you know, something's going to break. You just get, you know, it's a confidence thing, really. Like it's like a basketball player. Once they hit a couple shots, then they can't miss.
Right.
But the guy that goes out there and throws a brick, then they're unsure of themselves, and it's brick after brick. So left the line really, really easy. Watched a lot of guys blow the tires off, and you know, I don't really have a feel for sled pulling yet. You know, like drag racing, you get in enough situations, you can, you know, if you spin or whatever, you kind of get the feel for how much to pedal it, you know, to where you don't get back under the turbos or whatnot. Sled pulling is just a new thing, so I wasn't really sure. And kind of tried getting into it more, tried letting it out, and it seemed like, obviously, the more you get into it, the more it blows the tires off. And then I tried letting back out, and you would feel like you would think you would get like a momentum, like it would catch at some point.
Yeah.
But it would never catch. It was almost like you started sinking. Feel like you're going to get stuck or something. So I wasn't real sure how to deal with that, and kind of eased back in it. And the RPMs flew through the roof, and I said, man, I got to find a way to get the RPMs back down. So I locked the converter, and you know, it was blowing the tires off, but it felt like it was starting to pull a little bit better. And right about the time it felt like it was starting to go, and something banged, and that was all she wrote.
Oh.
It was the
Oh no.
rear U joint. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say you were 3 for 3 on the input shaft for a second.
Yeah. You know what was funny is I was about to pull, and Ryan Milligan walks up, opens the door, he goes, "So you got to kill the third one?" Like, thanks.
man.
So,
And
What
this
a
year,
roller coaster of a ride of a weekend.
and this year they only did one pull.
Yeah.
So
only one pull.
Man, what do you think about next year? So you're guaranteed a spot. You're number 9. It's your second year doing it. Are you guys excited to come back again next year and kick ass again, or?
You know, I guess ask me in a month or two, and I'll probably be more excited. It's so draining of an event. I don't know if anybody this week will tell you that they're excited to go again yet. But we are, I guess, because I felt like we had a good combo, and I felt like we could have placed really well, and just due to some parts breaking, it held us back some. So I feel like if we can iron out those bugs and get those things to hold, I feel like we got a decent amount of power and decent enough at drag racing to give us a chance. And maybe if we can pull off a half decent flip pull, maybe we'll have a chance to make a run at it.
I love it, man. Well, hey, we love seeing you there. We're really excited about it. Congratulations again. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, Chris?
Oh man, I'm going to forget a bunch of people, but all of our sponsors, like the guys at S&S, Dave at One Up Off Road, Brian at Brian's Truck Shop, the guys up at Freedom Chase. He helped us a bunch this weekend, just advice and stuff like that. We got, I'm sure I'm forgetting some of the sponsors. All the guys at the shop, the thrashed and thrashed every time I had to go out there and break something and, put Humpty back together again to go to the next event. Their work ethic and everything, we're really lucky. I feel like we have a great team. And then obviously, Wade, with Wade Minter, Triple Max, W and Welding guys, you couldn't ask for a better teammate or a better friend, to go do that event with. And it was, it meant a lot. And we were super excited, to finally get his truck more consistent and watch him. He kicked some ass on the racetrack, and he did really well the rest of the event. So we're not too bummed because, his truck did really, really well. We're really happy to finally see that come together.
Hell yeah. Well, Chris, thanks a lot for being on the show. Well, hey, one of the other things that was a lot of fun, Chris, was our trip over to WC Fab a few weeks ago. We're going to cut to a segment of that trip.
We've definitely learned what works and what doesn't work. As Chris mentioned, there's many different gauge thicknesses out there, and there's a lot of companies out there that sell intercooler pipes that shouldn't go on diesel trucks, in my opinion. They might work fine on a gas or application, making that 15 or 20 pounds of boost. But one thing, for example, is we'll talk about aluminum piping. Aluminum is nice because you don't got to worry about any sort of rust on the inside of the pipes. And in some applications, you could just put the pipe on your vehicle raw. You don't even have to powder coat it, even though most people would like to. And we use all sorts of materials. We use stainless, we use mild steel, we use aluminum. And as of lately, we're actually converting a lot of product over to aluminum, but we're not using the standard as most people have in the past of 16 gauge. The problem with 16 gauge aluminum and high boost applications is you go to put your T-bolt clamp on your silicone boot, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone, and I know none of you probably do either, put a torque wrench on your T-bolt clamps. You just crank them down.
Right.
And when you're cranking down a T-bolt clamp, you're going to crank that sucker down until it stops cranking. And
Or
the
it blows out.
Or it blows out. Or you strip it out. You want to keep your boost in. You don't want your boots blowing off. Obviously the bead rolls are there, and that's important. But the issue with some of the thinner gauge aluminum is obviously much softer. You start cranking on that T-bolt clamp, and it essentially will dent or cave in the pipe and essentially cause the boost leak, cause the boost to blow off. So what we've done recently with a lot of our product, A, for weight savings, and B, for rust for prevention, is we've changed a lot of intercooler piping over to aluminum, but we're not using 16 gauge, we're using 14 gauge.
Okay.
It's thicker, and you're not going to concave it. Numerous occasions, numerous sizes, before going in the oven, after going in the oven, because aluminum can be annealed and become soft and hard through different processes. You will strip out a T-bolt clamp before you ever cave in or dent one of our intercooler pipes from tightening a clamp too much. So it's allowed us, it's just like we mentioned earlier, improving upon older product and just making things better as we go along and as we learn things. So the cost savings, aluminum is going to be a cheaper material for us to buy versus, say, stainless steel. Stainless steel is your top tier, most expensive material you're going to buy. And, it's tough shit, but it's going to raise the price of all this product that is already very expensive.
Sure.
So we're able to keep prices the same or potentially even drop prices and offer you a better, longer lasting material that's not going to fail under these high boost applications that these trucks see.
The Diesel Performance Podcast is brought to you by Calibrated Power Solutions, home of DuramaxTuner.com. Calibrated Power develops emissions-equipped calibrations for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, PowerStroke, John Deere, Case, New Holland, and many more. For more information and great customer service, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920.